everybody. I've been trying to keep busy on this end with doing a little bit more on the video end than I've had the opportunity to do recently. And as we did a video a few days ago on Jupiter's entry into Hasta Nakshatra, I thought I would do another Nakshatra transit video because we do have another important one approaching. And that particular transit will be Mars's transit through Mula Nakshatra, which begins on the 13th of September and will continue through to the 1st. Now this is 1st of October, I should say. Now this is vital, especially as Mars will be entering this nakshatra a few days prior to the lunar eclipse of the 16th. There should be a link at the bottom of this page if you want to watch my video on the lunar eclipse. And in addition, if you'd like to know what these coming changes mean for you, particularly as an individual, there should be a link below to my astrological services page where you can schedule a consultation with me. So if we're going to talk about Mars and Mula Nakshatra, we need to at first talk about Mula Nakshatra and talk about Mars. Make sense, right? So let's talk about Mula Nakshatra first. Mula Nakshatra, each of the nakshatras is connected with a particular deity. If you understand that deity, it really helps you to understand that particular nakshatra. In addition, each nakshatra has a Shakti, or a power. Understanding that power also gives you a little more energy and a little more understanding, I should say. A little more, I think I meant to say a little more intimacy with that nakshatra, a little more understanding of the nakshatra. So Nariti is the goddess of destruction. Dissolution, not disillusion, but dissolution. It's about dissolving things. Now, it's interesting because Mula Nakshatra begins the final 9 nakshatras, which are sattvic at foundation. But you think about it, and Nariti is the goddess of destruction, right? What actually happens in Mula Nakshatra on one level seems counterproductive to everything that's sattvic, okay? Because sattvic, we think of that as being very balanced, being more aware, being very inspired as well. But what happens many times through Mula Nakshatra is the individual becomes more passionate because it's a kama-driven nakshatra. It's driven by desire. So the individual becomes more passionate. It recognizes hindrances to its desires. And because it's sensing those things that are opposing its desires, it begins to amplify its efforts rather than doing something that is very vital to the process, which is looking perhaps at why one's efforts are being obstructed. What is the meaning behind that? Why am I facing this opposition? But sometimes we have to learn lessons in a manner that is going to really, for lack of a better way to put it, drive it home to us, right? Experience is the best teacher. But that doesn't mean that you have to, have all sorts of difficulties as this time approaches. It means you have to be aware of the difficulties that you're going through. And you may need to take a look at where you might be kind of getting in your own way. Mars, at the time of this entry and continuing through the whole transit, is going to be interacting in a transit with the Sun, which will first be an Uttara Palguni Nakshatra, which feeds the confidence level, perhaps to a detrimental level, right? And that's something to take a look at. And then the Sun enters Hasta Nakshatra, perhaps amplifying a struggle. And as the Sun enters Hasta Nakshatra, it's making Jupiter combust, as we spoke about Jupiter being in Hasta Nakshatra as well. So our capacity for understanding the spiritually wise thing to do, it gets hindered a little bit unless we pay extra close attention. And that's why I'm talking to you today, to help you to pay extra close attention. But let's understand the reasoning behind this, right? So sometimes we need to go through the difficult times of life so that we can get to the very bottom or get to the root of something. Now, Mars is a planet that is very willful. It's equally what's called a Krura Graha, which means it's very cruel in its approach. It goes about things in a very strong, passionate, and very willful way. So Mars doesn't want to do things the easy way. Talk to anybody who has Mars prominent in their chart. These are the people who, if they don't have any problems in their life, on one level, they're going to be looking to find a problem to resolve, even if that problem to resolve is their own spiritual liberation, because there's a lot of spiritually enlightened people who have strong Mars in their chart. So Mars in Mula Nakshatra can make each and every one of us in a particular area of our life very driven as we see a shift or a potential that's opening up to us. Because Mars has recently been transiting Jyeshta Nakshatra with Saturn, and that's been opening up our awareness as we've been reflecting upon a particular situation. So we're seeing the potential, and we're seeing a need for something, and we're seeing a desire to really change things. And so Mars is amplifying those efforts in order to make a change, in order to make a shift. But as that is happening, things are getting frustrating. Things aren't reaching quite the level of resolution that we would like for them to reach. And somewhere in that particular process, something is going to happen, right? You will take actions to try to get a result, as is only natural, right? We all have free will. We're meant to interact with our destiny. Part of these experiences we go through are our prosperity. Even the mistakes, those are part of our prosperity too. And on a certain level, they're not mistakes. They're what we learn from. But can we avoid having to learn difficult lessons? Well, I think on a certain level, we can always go deeper with our lessons. We can always apply more awareness to the experiences that we're going through, right? So with this Mars transit of Mula Nakshatra, it will likely take you through the process of trying to resolve something, pushing up against the boundaries, really trying to create a positive change for your particular life. Only thing is, like I was saying, you'll reach that resistance. You'll reach that point where you cannot go any further. And your ego sense of your mind, the part of you that's wanting to be pushed by your desires to attain this result, will collapse. And that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing, because if we want to learn something, we have to be humble. So this is how Mula Nakshatra is a Sattvic Nakshatra. It confronts us with our ego. It confronts us where we're perhaps pushing up against the boundaries too strongly, when we should instead pay closer attention to the input, guidance that the universe is trying to give us in every single moment. So the moment that we come up against that resistance, the moment that we're forced to do nothing other than to surrender, that's the moment when all the wisdom flows to us. So at some point over the next few weeks, your awareness will open in relation to a particular event. The frustration may build, but your awareness will open. Pay attention along the way to the signs, signals, where the universe is pointing you towards, right? So obviously this has just been a very general interpretation of Mars's transit through Mula Nakshatra. Without having your particular astrological chart in front of me, I can't go really much more deeply with that particular concept in terms of which areas of your life it might impact. But if you would like to schedule an astrological consultation with me, we can definitely take a look at that, or anything else that you would like to take a look at. And you can do that through scheduling through the link that you'll see at the bottom of the page. So that's going to do it for this video on Mars's transit through Mula Nakshatra. Until next time, please do take the very best care of yourself. Bye now.